friends, welcome back to 31 Days of Horror, where I'm doing horror reviews each day for the month of October. And today I get to talk about one that I really enjoyed, and that is Carnival of Blood. And this actually is part of an Arrow box set, and you can see their really cool artwork. And it's actually, I guess the full title would be Malatesta's Carnival of Blood, which is a character in the film. But it is a part of this American Horror Project box set that Arrow put out, which contains this film, The Witch Who Came from the Sea, and The Premonition, which I haven't seen those films either, so I look forward to checking them out as well. But today we're going to talk about Malatesta's Carnival of Blood, and I had heard of this film and I had just never seen it. And you know, it was really cool because there was an introduction you could watch from the film historian that was on the first of this, who was a part of, I guess, getting this box set together and stuff like that. And he was a British film historian, and he was talking about this film being lost for 30 years. So this was a movie that, you know, they didn't think was in existence anymore or anything like that. It was from a director who only made this film. This was the only film that he ever made. His last name is Spieth. I can't remember his first name, but they talk a little bit about that, or he talks a little bit about that. But talks about this film being lost and then being put out by the director maybe in the year 99 or 2000, he said, and on DVD, and it was kind of a poor quality print and things like that. And then it wasn't until Arrow put out this set that we got the Blu-ray release of it. And one thing about that, the transfer is really good, but this film has a lot of pops and crackles and hisses and lines on the screen. That doesn't bother me at all. I think it actually adds to this type of movie, because this movie it has like this quality to it that I can't really describe. The only thing that I could think to compare it to is Mulholland Drive, a David Lynch film, which it's nothing like Mulholland Drive. It's hard to describe. It just kind of has that feel, and it feels like something that David Lynch could have even directed. And I say that because one thing about this film, you have to go into it knowing that there's some nightmare logic going on, much like a Fulci film or something like that, like The Beyond, those types of films. This film feels like a dream the entire time, or a nightmare, and it focuses on the opening of this carnival that I guess opens each year. They never really tell you. And there's a man named Mr. Blood who is walking around these new workers, and there's one family it focuses on, a husband and a wife and their daughter, and the daughter is kind of our main character of this story. Things are kind of shown from her perspective and things like that. And weird stuff starts happening. You know, people start to die on these different rides, and it's workers and things like that, because that's the only people who are in the park so far. But this carnival has this old kind of rundown feel, and this film was made in 1970, and it's almost like if you went to a park like Six Flags or Disney World or somewhere like that, and it was just abandoned, you know, for a long time. That's kind of the feel of it, and they're getting ready to open and things like that, but people start being killed off, you know, kind of one by one or family by family happens in it as well. And, you know, focuses on this girl, and she's, you know, put in a situation where she ends up kind of waking up one night having to escape all this craziness. And it's really cool because there's all these different characters, and there's kind of these underground cannibal people who never see the light of day, they tell you in the movie, so they're kind of this bluish tint to their skin and things like that. And, you know, they live underground, and there's this guy named Malatesta that kind of watches over them and kind of rules them, but they're kind of like a shambling bunch of zombies who just crave human flesh. So that's kind of like how these people are getting dispatched in this movie. So, but I won't tell you any more about the plot just because I don't want to ruin anything, but I highly recommend this movie. You have to be patient with it. And I think, you know, it's not a perfect film. There's a lot of stuff going on that you're like, why is that happening? And I don't really understand the narrative. But then I have to remind myself, well, it's kind of like a nightmare, so things don't necessarily have to make sense. And all in all, I thought it was a lot of fun. And, you know, atmosphere alone and just the strangeness of it and the feel of this carnival film, it looked like the actors were having a lot of fun. And, you know, it's a very serious movie, too. It's not a comedy. And it's funny, one of the characters who pops up in it was Tattoo from Fantasy Island. So it was cool to see him in a film, you know, kind of playing a similar type character that he has before. but when you hear that recognizable voice, it was just a cool addition to the film. So highly recommend Carnival of Blood. Definitely want to check out the other films in the set, and I have volume 2 as well that has 3 other films, so definitely worth picking up if you haven't seen it. And yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts about this movie as well. So hope everybody has a great rest of the day, and I will see you tomorrow with another review.